All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to try to make a third video today. I'm going to look at what seems like 6 tickers in my head, maybe even a 7th if there's enough time, but I'm going to look at 3 different sectors on this video. We're going to look at AI, we'll look at SoundHound and BBAI. We're going to look at robotics. I want to take a look at SERV and RR. And then we're going to take a look at the nuclear sector. We're going to take a look at OKLO and NNE. All right, if I've got time, I'll throw SOFI in here, but that's basically a nice little cluster of what I want to look at. And really, across all 6 of these, all right, what's going to matter is what Nasdaq does and what S&P 500 does. All right, so Nasdaq was very much below all, if not most of the moving averages for what, almost 2-3 months. Once it got over them on the 12th and just kept going, I know it hasn't been pretty. I know it hasn't been an amazing confirmation and this and that, but this is the live and die by the moving averages, right? And as long as tech can stay over all or most of the moving averages, that's a good thing. I don't want to lose the 8. And if we can start heading back up towards that 19,100, right? If QQQ cannot lose the 8 and start heading up towards 520, I think all of these will do really well, all right? Monday's a holiday, and I generally don't like short weeks, but to me, I'd rather not have Monday than not have Friday. I don't know why. I just think mentally that's the better version of a short week, all right? When we look at the S&P 500 and the SPY, the ETF reflective, it's the exact same thoughts. Look, we got back over them all on the 12th. Hasn't been beautiful, but hey, it hasn't been bad, right? And just give me back the 8 moving average. Take me towards 5,920. Give me an SPY of 590, basically that line exactly right there, right? Give me 590 SPY. All of these will do well, all right? And that's basically what I'm looking for across all of these. And I'm obviously going to get into each individual technical shortly, all right? So before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But hey, what do I normally say? I don't really know. Whatever, let's get into it. I've made too many of these. That's potential spam. I have no friends. Only potential spam calls me. So look, I think the easiest thing to say is SoundHound has significantly disappointed me. All right. So if you watched my video on the 12th, all right, I did say I think this golden line was going to be the target. Obviously, we wicked it, but the last thing I'm going to do is, feel good about that call. This is not what I look for, right? I don't want to wall and peak our target and fail it. I wanted to break that golden line and start heading to 15 and hopefully break 15. And I wanted SoundHound to do right what Quant did. Right? I wanted it to IONQ today and just start taking moving averages and break all them, and just resistance it, blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? That's not what Sound did. Sound literally on the same day, right? That day right there, the 14th, was the IONQ day, the same. This is the 8th, so I was wrong. It was closer to here. But yeah, these were trying to and were able, and just, the other 2, SoundHound and BBAI inclusive, couldn't. So very much disappointed me. And I think what magnifies my disappointment really is the fact, let's just look at QQQ. This has been going up, right? You can kind of say, hey, there's a little bit of a curve going on, but for the most part, that's up or horizontal. That's not what SoundHound is. This is just parabolic and horribly horizontal. And actually, I think, in my opinion, lower because, hey, we were here on the 12th and now we're down here as of today, right? So really disappointed, just to say the least, all right? So what am I looking for at this point? Look, it is very difficult to break up when you have two moving averages or more, it's very difficult to lose down two moving averages. All right, it's compounded with a with a resistance line or a support now that I have. You know, I don't give my lines that much credit. I do like the moving averages more, but this should be really hard to lose. This is where I would be expecting a bounce, and hopefully we can at least come up to 1050. All right, I don't really know if we'll get over that 1150. That probably matters a little bit more, less alone that 1260, right? But I think for now the it's fair to assume, and again, I don't want to just assume, right? But I think there's a nice little 10% move right there, right? Because we're going to add a little bit more than $1.95 is 10%, right? So that's not bad. If we take it up to 1050, again, you break that, that'll take you to 1150. That'll be a pretty big test, right? So I do not like this stock if it falls below 9. I'm clicking 905 right now, but yeah, that's a really scary line to me because that actually might drop us into $8 really quickly. All right, so hopefully we don't lose those multiple moving averages. I'm very disappointed that all we did was wick that line and nothing more, right? So and again, it's just so odd that this was disjointed from the Nasdaq move. A lot of people, I do remember saying it, so I'll at least call it out. On the 12th, when I was excited, a lot of people said that there was actually no news to this, and it was just kind of a random pop. So in a lot of ways, I think a lot of those people that made those comments just they look very smart right now, right? So disappointed on SoundHound. Hopefully, we get that 10% move. I would be very worried if this goes below 905 one more time. All right. Looking at BBAI, I think this has been arguably better. And I mean, in some ways, that's not even arguable, right? Like, this didn't do the crazy parabolic. It's just been testing and testing and testing and just can't quite get over that 100 moving average. But hey, at least the 8's going up, at least the 20's going up, and we actually haven't even used the 20 on this, right? Volume looks really nice here. I wish it was just a little more consistent, but this had 3 days over it. This had 3 days over it. This is a great 2 days, actually. They've both been pretty much living around the same volume, right? We've got green over red on both the MACD and the RSI. That's a real healthy 61. In a lot of ways, BBAI is actually the leader between the two right now. And you can see the nice little channels that would go above it because all I see is green, 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 red, 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 and nothing, nothing, nothing all the way back. Oh my gosh, look how long all the way back, right? So since 2023 was the last time we were even over that 430 line, right? So outside of this moment, obviously. So yeah, real big line, a lot to like over 432 on BBAI. And like I said, I think there's more to like here than on SoundHound. Let me just go back to SoundHound real quick. Look at the volume difference, right? The last 2 days on BBAI have actually been so much more. I'm a little surprised to see BBAI pushing 123 million while SoundHound is struggling to hit 20-30 million, right? Almost 100 million shares more. My goodness, almost a 3x 4x on this thing, right? So there is way more to like than on BBAI than SoundHound, and I feel a little bad putting this one second, actually. You can tell I didn't rehearse that, right? Overall, I would say this is good as long as it can stay over 350. Really, though, the downside isn't horrible, and like we just said on SoundHound, those should be two really hard moving averages to lose, right? Hopefully that's not what we're talking about. Hopefully it's that 430 break right there. Where's your weekly? Yeah, this is a tough weekly, right? We actually haven't gotten over the 200 and we've got the 20 right behind it. You can see why it's been real difficult on the daily. And really, I think this weekly, one more time, emphasizes if this gets over 430, it's over all the moving averages on the weekly, over all the moving averages on the daily. A lot to love, actually, over 430. Arguably a little risky between here and there, especially what we saw on the weekly right there, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's move into, let's go to R. Nope. What is just R? Not that good. It's okay. I'm going to start with RR, mainly because this still hasn't done the move. All right, I made a video on SERV and RR, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I know we talked about it a bunch, but SERV, since the 12th, has actually filled that little channel right there, right, from the 50 all the way up to these two, and is now trying to break all moving averages, and you can see my lines there, right? RR didn't have that same advantage. It didn't have a nice, beautiful channel that it could like go through and fly up and sustain up. It's really been a tight, tough cluster of 4 moving averages right here, all right? But what happens with this many moving averages, it'll throw you up, it'll throw you down, it'll throw you up, it'll throw you down, and eventually you will violently go up, which is a good thing, or violently go down, which is the scary thing, right? And in some ways, there's reason to think that SERV doing, oops, is this a good one? No. If SERV is going to do well and SERV is going to escape all the moving averages and try to go up, that might bring some nice sector strength to RR, might give it reasons to actually start to escape. And yeah, you can see there's a lot of green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, right, all the way down, right? So maybe there's a line worth drawing probably here around 280, maybe even here around 304. I think I'll draw that line. I'll draw the 304. It's the top of this guy. It's half of this guy. It's almost actually half of that guy. I like that line. But overall, I think actually there's a real good shot at going all the way up there. I think the first money line is probably going to be 245. You give me 247. Even waiting for 250 ain't bad. But yeah, 247, I think, it's nice. That's what I clicked on. An alert is not an immediate buy notification, but it's a come check it out. Again, RR hasn't made the move yet. We're really liking what SERV is doing. And I know, I don't think I have it open. I don't have it open. We're not going to go into the Discord. But yeah, again, if I didn't make a video, I know we were talking about it. When you have a beautiful channel like this, right? If you can break the 8, you go to the 20. You break the 20, you go to the 50. You break the 50, you go to the 100. When the 50 is down here at 6 something, and the next one's all the way up here at 10 something, oh, that's some good eats right there, right? That's more than a 50% gain right there. So all it's done is stayed over the 8 moving average during it, just taking complete advantage of that red, red, red to green, 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 especially over that line right there, right? So SERV did well, took advantage of what it had in front of it, and now it seems like it wants more. Right, it is now trying to get over all 5 moving averages. It's actually getting better volume today than during that entire climb of 50%, right? RSI is actually still a pretty healthy 75. MACD is positive. When you look at the weekly, it's over all the moving averages. There's a lot of reason to believe this is going to want 13 and then 17 right after, right? And again, obviously all-time highs is up here in the 24s. I still think, let me double check that before I say those words. No, I no longer think that. I'll move my golden line to here, but I want to redraw that 16. That's probably roughly where that line was. Cool. I like that right here. Those are the lines up. Hey, as long as SERV does not lose 1070, there's a lot to like here for sure. All right, so SERV's made the move and looks like it wants more. RR hasn't yet. All right, the hope is the tornado throws us up, the sector strength continues, and yeah, as long as Nasdaq, like we said in the opening thoughts, makes its move on up, robotics, a very Nasdaq tech heavy stock and sector, should do well, right? So let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into NNE and OKLO. All right, and again, I think this has the exact same thoughts as what I just said on SERV and RR. NNE hasn't made the move. OKLO looks like it's starting to and already has made the move, right? So, hey, real quick, if you can subscribe, if you can share, it does wonders with these algorithms, all right? So, again, OKLO, over all 5 moving averages, looks like they really like the earnings because we got a nice little gap up as well. Boom, boom, boom. We just go back to the 8 moving average, bouncing and going, right? So much green, 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 red, red, red. There's a lot of reason to believe this actually might try to come to 50. I think the next target's probably 42, all right? When we look at NNE, not quite the same, but really not that bad, right? The problem, just like I said with RR, when you have too many moving averages too close to each other, right? When you have too many moving averages too close to each other, it gets a little bit hard to escape, right? But again, if Nasdaq can keep doing well, if OKLO can keep doing well, sector strength will do really good things. This was a previous golden line at one point. You can see all the tests. It made a nice run into the 40s but couldn't sustain it. I think if you break this line, it might try to retest that, maybe trying to go to like 36, I would say. I'll even draw that line. I think that's a pretty good line to draw. 37, I'm okay with that line right there, right? So a lot, excuse me, a little hiccup, a lot to love over 29.15, as you can see there. With OKLO, like I said, it's already starting to climb, right? Because I would have drawn the line right here. I think 42 is basically the next place. It's basically half of this thing, top of this, top of this. You break 42, you're probably coming to 51, right? So OKLO feels like a 51 is coming up. 77 is a little high, but yeah, look at that. We just were at 85. We do a healthy cool down to 74. Well, let's go back up to 82, 83, right? So as long as Nasdaq keeps pushing, as long as S&P 500 keeps pushing, these are going to keep pushing too, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, hey, I'll throw in SoFi because I did go so fast, all right? I think the same thoughts as SoundHound, all right? I thought we were going to go into the 14s and then the 16s. I didn't really want us to wick that and then fall down into the 13s, right? So real disappointed in the last couple days here. I think the easy money line to call out is probably 14.15. Maybe you can say that's too high. I think 1390 is probably a respectful one. You'll start to get into this candle in February. You'll at least get over that little doji right there. I think 1390 isn't bad. I think 1420 is a little bit of a safer number. There's no such thing as safe in the market, right? Same thing we said with SoundHound, right? It should be difficult to lose the two moving averages at the bottom. With SoFi, it should be really difficult to lose these two moving averages at the bottom, right? But what I really want to do is regain these three, not head down to those two, right? So as long as you don't lose $12.10, I think SoFi is okay. Hopefully you never actually go below that 12.45. There is a lot to like over that 14.20 line, because yeah, from there it's a quick 16.20, and that's way more than a 20% move right there, right? Maybe not way more. Tough math in my head right there. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, oh, I appreciate you so much.